Today I'm gonna talk about Linux and especially about the kind of mental approach that I take to Linux in order to not make it not only enjoyable but also to persevere when it gets a little bit hard or I need to sit and debug something. And yeah, so let's get into it. As you can see, I'm using DVM and it's on Debian. I've been using Linux for about, I would say, 2 months, and I've been on Debian for about like 4 weeks. So I'm very early to my Linux journey, especially coming from a point that I'm using a minimal distribution, where basically anything, even the most basic stuff that you don't even think about, like I don't know, the drivers or the Wi-Fi or the notifications, I have to set it up myself. And the natural question is like, why would you do that if it's like not really like you have to do everything yourself? And here, this kind of video is kind of dedicated to people both kind of using Linux and other distributions, but mostly to the people that are like on the brink or like they just started, they like early in the journey like me. So you probably remember, and you probably are also in the depth phase, like how do you call this is the depth to Linux. When you come into this, the Animal Crossing in the game, when you come onto the island, you pay Tom Nooks the money. I don't remember the currency. I actually didn't play the game. I was just using for example. But you pay some money to move into the house, and this is kind of the same deal when it comes to using Linux, because you are sacrificing things, right? I mean, if you're coming from Apple-based operating systems or Windows, you're sacrificing time because you have to take some time to learn things. You're sacrificing effort that you could spend anywhere, and you're sacrificing convenience because, depends obviously what distribution, but stuff will not be the natural way for you, right? The natural way might have been for you from macOS or Windows, and why bother? That's a good question to ask, and I asked myself a couple times, at least a couple times, this question, especially when I was, struggling and such stuff like that. But the analogy that I would like to use is with those two buckets. Let's start with the Windows one. It could also be the Apple one. Let's not draw Apple. By the way, I love this. This is TuxPaint. I found it. It's lovely software. It makes freaking sound when you're. It's very cool. But anyway, my experience with Windows has been basically first of all convenience, which is definitely to the credit of Windows, that we're kind of in this Windows hegemony where you kind of know already how to use it. I'm gonna focus on Windows because it's bigger, but also applies to macOS if you've been using it previously. You know where things are, you know how to use it, everything is nice and like graphical, and it's like very the low friction, right? Stuff just works. And in my journey with Windows, those light bulbs represent those features and those experiences that I had, and that is full to the credit of Windows that worked for me, and it just seemed fine, and it just worked basically, which was great. But then when you get like deep into it, like when you're trying to actually make changes inside of the system or do anything that is sort of beyond your usual browsing the internet and I don't know, doing some word editing or something, you meet those blockades, and there's just garbage, and there's just kind of, I mean, I wouldn't call it garbage per se, it's just a symbol of garbage, but basically bloat. Like it's stuff that I don't care about, it's stuff that I completely don't need, and it is pushed upon me. I would say the excellent example of that was the Cortana stuff, which is like it just pops up. Like there's just some update. I stopped on Windows 10. I haven't even touched Windows 11, um, and it just when you touch it, you know, like it just happens. You know, you pop up your system with automatic update, and then you just have to like live with it. And yeah, it's just been an experience after experience after experience, and that happened. But that probably also happens to a lot of Windows users. That's normal. But what I want to highlight is the locked areas. Like the locked areas represent first of the stuff that you don't know, and it is kind of a mode of either effort or just like there's not a lot of documentation and you have to like spend a shit ton of time to even understand it, and or it's just like straight up just locked in, you cannot access it because Windows proprietary software. And this creates a situation where you have this closed bucket that you cannot enhance in any way or in any capacity. I mean, of course you can install apps and, you know, customize some stuff to some degree, but fundamentally you are locked. It doesn't feel like your place. Like it's like you know, you're renting a room, but you cannot like. I mean, you maybe can paint the walls a little bit, maybe if the, you know, landlord agrees or stuff like that, or but most of the time it is inconvenient, and also, which is more important, it doesn't feel like you're changing. It's not your system. It never felt for me that when I was using Windows, oh, this is my home computer, this is like my place. No, it always was like a tool. And fundamentally I think, you know, that was the reason that I made the change, because I wanted not something that is just merely a tool, like, you know, a hammer, but something that I can use as a means. I would say not expression, I mean to some extent probably expression, but customize it in a way that makes me feel cozy, that makes me feel comfortable using it, you know. And with Windows you'll never have that experience. Like for some people it doesn't matter, you know, it's like, oh, okay, computer, if it browses the web, it's fine, you know. But if you're watching it, especially to this fragment, I think you at least have the inclination to be like, you know, I want something more out of my computer. I want to truly feel like it is my place, you know, my little corner of the world, of the digital world, something I can truly enjoy. And yeah, so here we come to the Linux part. Like this is the inspiration part. Like this is the moment where I make the hop. Right, I install, I think it was Ubuntu, and I just start, you know, making stuff. And then with this nice sticker I will bam, you know, like I cannot install something, you know, or bam, NVIDIA drivers doesn't work because NVIDIA. And then bam, something else, and then and you are in this kind of hell in a sense, because nothing is working. I mean, depends of course how much you want to dig in, but you have to learn new stuff. You have to experience completely new paradigms of making things, and it just feels a little bit overwhelming at times, right? You're having a facepalm after a facepalm after a facepalm. But what I found after that, you know, and what I find nice is that sometimes, you know, you get. Let me make this a little bit bigger. Actually, I made it the same size. You know, you get a little win. You get a little. Oh, we got a little guy, little Linux guy that is, you know, something worked. You set up that systemd scheduled job that does like something, or even stuff like I did I think it was xcopy. I did an alias for xcopy that, you know, if I want to put something into my clipboard from the command line, I can pipe it very easily. And the key about those things is they have a lot of satisfaction to them. Those very, very simple things that on Windows it's just there, right? You start with a somewhat empty bucket, especially when we're talking about a minimal distribution where you just have a very bare bones experience. You start to appreciate, kind of, I wouldn't say appreciate, but be grateful for the kind of things that you have on your computer, because you're putting actually effort to make it work. And this also coming back to Animal Crossing, you kind of do the quest and you do stuff, and you know you pay a little bit, you know, one, I think it's an acorn, I don't, yes, I think it's an acorn, you know, one acorn after the other to Mr. Tom Nooks, or you know, in this case Mr. Linux. And you can put like, oh, okay, let's me put like a little painting, or you know, a little time shift, oh, not time shift, I remember, a red shift, I think it was called, the yellow filter on the screen, or some other like cool customization. And step by step, you know, because you're building a system that like fundamentally you agree with every principle that it has, you know, not a principle, maybe principle is a too big word, but basically every feature that it has, you're having a bucket that starts to feel very, very nice. And this effort, I would say, you know, I think the thing about Linux is kind of that the uncomfortableness, a little bit of it at the beginning, is, I would say, the rite of passage in a sense, because it builds that sense of like, I built this place. This is my place because I put the work, and I, like, you know, I got my hands dirty in that config or whatever. I debugged that, and it's great. It's a great feeling, and I highly recommend it to anyone. And yeah, and the thing also I want to talk about, which I think like makes the whole ordeal better, because like, okay, you learn some stuff, whoopee, what they, but the point is that you can add how much you want. You can just stack it. With Windows, you know, let me do a different sticker. I love this sticker. With Windows, you will always be capped. You always, yeah, like your kind of, I would say, computer potential, right? Operating system potential. It will always be capped by Mr. Windows or Mr. Apple, or anyone who is like, you know, governing this. And this works for users that, you know, kind of don't need a lot from their computer, and they don't care about it enough. But you know, if you have the inclination, you know, if you feel like you want to not only use your computer but own your computer, hop onto Linux, in a sense that the work that you're doing here, right, like even if you're like beginning and you're like kind of cursing because like, oh my god, I can't freaking make a, I don't know, I can't get my browser to work, like I cannot browse my web, you know, like I cannot even hop on YouTube, and it sucks because like it's been like so easy to do it here in this department. Know this, that like, even if it's like 30 minutes a day, like even if it's just like, oh, I'm gonna just use it a little bit. I'm currently on a dual boot situation, where every time you use Linux, you're taking a next step towards scaling, I would say, your own skills, but I would say just the system that you have and your approach to it, to be a power user. And what I mean by a power user is a user, you know, at the end of your play, I mean, not Animal Crossing doesn't end, but when you're more advanced in your Animal Crossing playthrough, you have a fully decked out house. It's very beautiful. It's very nice. But it doesn't matter, you know, how beautiful it is. It matters that you build it. It's truly yours because you made it. And that sense of ownership, I don't think any other kind of approach, like Windows or Apple or I don't know, even third systems, they cannot approach it, you know. It's I think it's just worth it in itself. So yeah, as you can see, let's me go to the second slide, which is I kind of took a different approach with this presentation, but I think it's funny. Of the rock, of the Sisyphus rock, and I think I put it in here because like it feels definitely when you're using Linux that it never ends, but the the thing is that first of all, it's your rock, like it's your rock that you push, and I think just the innate knowledge that you, I wouldn't say, you know, that the effort is justified in the sense that it isn't painful or it doesn't suck or isn't, no, it still sucks. It still sucks if you don't know shit, you know. It is still hard, but the effort that you put in, it feels justified, right? And I think if you keep the confidence of the Windows, you know, operating system, you know, because like, oh my god, I put in so much work already to you know, learn that stuff and to learn this and that. If you keep in this mindset of kind of comfortable but not really satisfied, you will never have I wouldn't say experiences. I'm trying to pick up a word that I want to say. It would be content. Yeah, you will not be content with the state of your operating system, never, because first of all, there's always gonna come some silly update that's gonna add some weird stuff that you don't like, but fundamentally you will never feel like you own your system because you don't understand it, because you don't have the innate kind of ability to, not innate, it's not an innate in any sense of the way, it's learned, it's built with sweat and tears. I mean, tears maybe not, but sweat a little bit, certainly, when you get a little bit angry that something doesn't work. So yeah, I mean, this is just a letter from me to you to, first of all, keep going and keep doing hard things because they're worth it, and also, yeah, keep using Linux if you're using, and if you're not, maybe start. And also, don't be scared to go very minimal, very bare bones, where you add things, because it's worth it. It just works. And also, you can kind of tier the difficulty very easily, right? You only add what you are ready for, in a sense. Like, for example, this Tux Paint. Here I kind of, as a reward, I want to show you something really cool in Tux Paint, which is the kaleidoscope feature. Like, holy shit! Like, Windows could never do that. Like, this is so cool. This is the second one, and yeah, fuck, that was cool. That was really cool. So yeah, this has been a little more rambly, more of a off top of the dome kind of material. When it comes to my main kind of series about travel agent jobs, it's still coming out. I just been learning Ruby and other stuff, and been kind of procrastinating on making the video, but I promise you it's coming soon. The another progress kind of presentation. So yeah, thanks for watching and take care.